What's going on, irregulars? Welcome back on another Thursday. It is your girl, Katie. Bobby, what's up?
Nothing, man. It is just another day, another dollar,
Yeah.
the usual.
Yeah. So we're actually recording this ahead of time this week. We are both looking at upcoming trips that we're doing. So
Yeah, yeah. And back to back, too. It couldn't have been worse timing, actually, because, we know that we have to, record and stuff like that. And I was like, hey, Caitlin, I'll be going away. And then you were like, okay, that's cool. We'll figure it out. Then I was like, okay, it's not that big of a deal. It's one weekend. We can, figure out another way to record another episode. And then it was 2 weeks later. She was like, oh, just so you know, by the way, I'm also going away, the weekend after. So, we kind of have to, really figure this out. And I was like, that would have been, a really cool to know 2 weeks ago. So we could have had, 2 weeks to plan. But
yeah, no, I'm not used to having to share my itinerary with people. I'm single. I was like, hey, self, can we travel this weekend? Sounds good, self. Then a couple days later, I'm like, oh, shit. I have a podcast.
I have obligations. What? Yeah. I was pretty pissed for 1 second, and then we figured it out. So it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, I'll be heading down to the epicenter, as most people refer to. But I don't give a fuck. I will be heading to Florida and getting my leg sleeve finished up and visiting the boys. So I'm pretty pumped for that. And by the time you guys hear this episode, I'll be back. Right? Yeah. Fourth. Yeah, I'll be back.
Yes, I don't know. I don't have a calendar in front of me, and I'm too hungover to think that
this
right
is also,
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 5 p.m. and I'm still hungover, everyone.
Yeah.
Welcome to my Sundays.
Well, it's because you didn't finish your Gatorade yet. You got to chug it.
Yeah, I know, but I had some awesome soup that Bobby's mom made. Ooh.
Chicken tortellini.
It was bomb.
Yeah,
it brought me to life. I was everything that I didn't know I needed. So
yeah, it was funny because we had obviously recorded an episode already, and she was like, "Oh my god, I'm fucking starving," and I was like, "Okay, I'll feed you, Jesus Christ."
Yeah.
And then we went upstairs and she ate, and she was just like, "All right, let's do this." I was like, "Oh my gosh,
she's like a new woman."
She's motivated.
I am.
That's weird.
I'm motivated to discuss a topic that is very toxic.
Very toxic and very, very close to Caitlin's heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've talked about it before, but we're going to divulge into it because one, Caitlin, as you guys don't know, was the biggest fan of Irregular until she became an Irregular. Mm-hmm. Well, she always was. But yeah, so she always used to give me unsolicited feedback every Thursday and whatnot. And when this episode dropped, she was like, I have a lot to say. And I was like, all right, cool. Whatever. You're just a fan. No, I'm just kidding.
I remember listening to it in my car and being like, can I call in? How do I weigh in on this? And the topic that we're talking about is cheating.
Here we are.
And here's the interesting part. You would think, as a woman, as this sweet, tender, wonderful little angel that I am,
oh God,
that I would be the person that got cheated on. But I'm here to talk to you from the perspective of the cheater, and not just the cheater, but the female cheater, which is not typically discussed as much, I feel like.
Yeah, because it's always guys are shit. Guys, they fucking always have their side hose and blah, blah. I'm like, right. I can't even get a text back, let alone a side hose. So, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
I saw a meme the other day. It was just it was someone blowing another person up. It's yeah, I triple texted you and I sent it to my buddy. I was like, you guys are getting texts back, let alone getting triple texted by someone. Yeah. So, cheating. Where do we begin?
Oh, well, it all started in 5th grade. No, but it really did.
5th grade.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that doesn't even really count.
But I feel like knowing my pattern of cheating, that's so telling. And I want to preface this too. I did not grow up in a household of cheating. I didn't grow up around it, but it was a pattern that I followed for a very long time.
That's actually an interesting thought. I never would have thought about that. I wonder if you're more likely to cheat if you have separated parents, or you saw your parents cheating on some, or it was a toxic relationship,
I think
or something like that.
A lot of childhood trauma ends in repeating patterns. Definitely.
Yeah. I never thought about that. Maybe the reason why certain people cheat is because they saw their mom do it. They saw their dads, hooking up with the maid, or the mom with the pool boy. Typical, stereotypical stories.
So that didn't happen to me. I just cooked it up all on my own. So that was cool. But yeah, so basically I want to talk about it from a couple different perspectives here. But yeah, I did cheat on my boyfriend in 5th grade.
How did he handle that?
Well, he broke up with me at recess, and I cried so hard on the playground. I'll never forget. I was wearing this blue pleather jacket, and I was crying into the blue pleather jacket, and then it was so cheap that the pleather got on my face because it like just like came off as it got wet, and then I had blue on my eye. It was bad.
It sounds like a
It
terrible
was traumatic
day
for me. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So like, what did you like in 5th grade? Would you just like hold some other guy's hand?
No, I kissed somebody in the lips. But we were
Ooh.
playing spin the bottle. Like, what was I supposed to do?
In 5th grade?
I
I'm
was a wild gal. No, I don't. Maybe it wasn't. I forget what the situation was, but it was so stupid, and it was like, I don't know. So that's where it all started.
I am almost 30 years old, and I don't think I've ever played spin the bottle.
I played it a lot.
Clearly, clearly, you started when you were fucking 11. Wait, yeah, you're 11 turning 12. No, you're 10. You're not 10 turning 11 in 5th grade. Should be, quote unquote. So, you cheated on him. You kissed some other boy. Why? You cheated on him because you were playing spin the bottle.
Yeah, this is not my perspective on cheating, by the way. This is not what I'm here to drop some knowledge on today.
Yeah, but like I just want to get this straight here real quick. So
my boyfriend was not at the party. No.
Oh, okay. That's what I was gonna ask. Like, was he like sitting in the circle as well too? And it's just like, well, sorry, it's kind of part of the game, hon.
Yeah,
like,
I forgot. Honestly, I forgot that I had a boyfriend. I was in 5th grade. I had a lot going on. The PSSAs were that year. There was a lot of things happening in my life. I forgot about Tyler. Sorry, Tyler.
Oh my god. Oh, you still remember who it was?
Yeah.
Still friends with him?
I don't. Yeah, we're cool, I guess.
Yeah. Acquaintances.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. Whatever. I've never cheated on anyone in my life.
And I think that's great. I really do. I commend that. I think it's interesting because I think that you and Sarah both previously, when you discussed this topic, you had both been cheated on, correct?
Yes.
And you guys are both speaking from the perspective of someone who was like the person scorned in the situation.
Receiving the cheating.
Right.
Yes.
So I think it was interesting to hear both of your perspectives on it because it was...
Yeah, because I don't think she's ever cheated either.
Yeah, so it was both... If I remember correctly, it was a lot of like, you're a piece of shit if you cheat, basically. And I'm like, literally driving in my car, I'm like, you don't even know. You don't even know.
Yeah.
So,
I think we did try to like open up as far as like the perspective. We tried to understand the perspective of like somebody else. Like I can understand. Like there are situations where I definitely understand like why. I still don't. Again, at the end of the day, and I think and maybe you can dissect it a little bit. I feel like either way, no one agrees with the fact that cheating is a good thing.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like it's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's wrong to do. But I can understand just because something's wrong or you didn't make the right decision, that doesn't mean I don't understand why you made that decision. You know what I mean? So like that's, I guess, what you want to shed some light on today. You know what I mean?
So I think there's a couple different scenarios in which I personally have cheated. And I've actually talked to a couple friends about this before this episode because I wanted to see if my experiences were similar to theirs. So I think, number one, when you're cheating or if you're getting cheated on, like the person who's doing the cheating, I would say 99.99999 infinity percent of the time, it's not about the person that you're dating. It's about you, the cheater. If you're cheating, it's very much a personal thing about you. It doesn't have anything, in my opinion, to do with the person that you're with at the very core of the issue. What
do you mean though? I mean,
so I think so. Okay, so basically,
I get what you're saying.
I'm gonna put like two scenarios in this, and this is from my experience. Others, I'm sure, are different. A lot of people that I've talked to have fallen into one of these two categories, and I'm sure there's probably other ones, but these are, I think, some of the two main. One is when you're insecure. And I'm going to say this too. If you are cheating in a relationship, there is probably something wrong with the relationship. It doesn't have to be like a toxic relationship. It doesn't have to be that you're unhappy in the relationship and like you should be getting out of it, but there's just something off fundamentally that is just not there for you. Mm-hmm. I can speak to my relationship in college. It was the best relationship I've ever been in, but it just wasn't for me. And I knew that. But I didn't want to let it go. So I think that's partially why I went into it. But I think where I was in my frame of mind at that point in my life, I was really young. I was in just a bad place mentally. I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't secure. I was always looking for something to like fill me up and make me feel...
validate you.
Yeah, make me feel wanted and attractive and pretty and like looking, like searching for that rush of like something to kind of like fill my cup because I was empty. At the end of the day, I was empty. No matter what my boyfriend did at the time, he was the sweetest, most wonderful man I've ever met. He would tell me 5,000 times a day how beautiful, smart, great I was. The sex was on point. Like, there was nothing wrong with our sex life. It was just about me, where I was mentally. Like, it's
almost like you didn't love yourself.
100%. Yeah. So I cheated on him with another person, and I think that made me feel I was chasing something. I think I was chasing something to make me feel whole and like filled up and like good enough. And I didn't find it, obviously. And I hurt someone that I loved a lot in the process. But I can't stress enough, like, it had nothing to do with him and anything he was or wasn't doing. It was all about me and where I was in my life. But in the same breath,
it is about him, though, in a way, because, I mean, would you have done that if the relationship wasn't lacking something?
I don't know that the relationship was lacking something. I think that it just wasn't
something
the full
there.
Spectrum relationship. I think he wanted different things than I wanted long term, but everything else felt right. So yeah, I think like that was my way of trying to like get that. So okay, just to put it simply, I loved to go out and party and like be really social, and he was a little bit more of a comfort zone kind of person. He liked to do those kinds of things too, but in a smaller spectrum than I did.
Yeah, you liked to fucking whoop it up.
To rage. I was in a sorority. He had his little group of friends, and they were great, but that's where we differed a lot. And I think the person that I cheated on him with was much more social, and like we kind of ran in similar circles. So it was like being able to get what I needed somewhere else a little bit while also keeping what I had at the same time. So it was like really having my cake and eating it too, but also the root of it, I think, really was that insecurity piece for me. There was nothing he could have done differently that would have changed it for me. It was me just trying to fill up a part of me that I could not fill with him. And as I've learned in therapy, like you said, it was like self-worth, and like I didn't love myself. Mm-hmm. And I tried to find validation and happiness. I had this perfect man, right? And like that didn't do it for me. So I tried somebody else, and and it was just like a cycle of like chasing something that just was not in somebody else. It should have been in me. Yeah,
like you should have just ended it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that above all else, like cheat. Everyone says this: if you're gonna cheat, just break up with the person. That's so true.
Yeah, like, that's what I'm saying. I think, like I said in the original episode where, I'd rather get a phone call fractions of a second before you're about to cheat on me and just be like, yo, we're done. Again, I'm still going to be like, fuck that bitch. Like, she sucks. But at the same time, like, at least, I think what I said before was at least, like, the thought of me came across your mind at some point before you made that decision to do what you did, which is fine. You know what I mean? But, like, I just want to make sure that I feel like that I was at least thought about, because there's nothing worse than not being thought about. You know what I mean?
And I think in that experience specifically, like I said, in that moment, it was not about the person that I was with. It was just about me, like trying to feel a rush of something. And like I would think about him after, but I wouldn't think about him during or before at all.
What a fucking gut punch. I would think about, so he was an afterthought. No one wants to be told that they're an afterthought.
But it was also, it was like one of those things like, why am I doing this? Like, I have this perfect person. Like, what am I even doing? Like, and I would leave the situation, because it was somewhat of an ongoing thing with this other person. And the other person actually, I cared about him a lot too, and he cared about me. So I ended up fucking over two people that I really cared about a lot at the same time. Yeah. But I knew I was never going to leave my boyfriend for this other guy. I would never do that. I had sometimes when I was with the other person, I was like, maybe, like, what would my life be like if I was with him instead of my boyfriend?
Joe and John.
Right. So I'm like, I have such a good time with John. Like, we have a great time together, but I love Joe. Joe's my boyfriend. Like, this is who I'm going to be with. Like, I'm not going to leave him for John. Like, and then I'm like, well, that's fucked up. Like, and it was a lot. It was very heavy. It's exhausting. I can tell you that too. Mentally, physically, emotionally. You're probably staying up super fucking late to be shady on the side because Joe does not know about John, and like, you're trying to be two different people. It's,
Did you get caught?
10 out of 10, do not recommend. That time I did not, no.
That time you did not get caught. Mm-hmm. What's your success rate of getting caught and not getting caught?
I have gotten caught and lied my way out of it a couple of times.
Oh my gosh.
I am not. Let me start also by saying I am not proud of this. This is all past behaviors that I was much younger and much more toxic than I am now.
Yeah, I've heard some stories. I've witnessed, well, not witnessed, but like I've interacted with some stories and whatnot. And you have, we will, let's commend you right now. Okay, one, you're taking a big leap of faith here by talking about
Yeah.
some shit that you're not proud of, and you have grown up a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're still a fucking degenerate.
Well, it wouldn't be fun if I wasn't.
Exactly. I was just gonna say we wouldn't be friends if you
No.
weren't. But yeah, but like you have gotten insurmountably better.
And I think it's a lot of it I've learned in therapy is like, why am I doing this? So why is this a repetitive behavior that I keep doing, right? So then I kind of, and it's funny too. Every time I've cheated, I've said like, I will never do this again. And I've been in relationships where I've said like, hands down, I know for a fucking fact, there is nothing that could happen that would make me cheat again. And then I do it again. And I'm like, how the fuck did we get here? Like, how? I don't.
Yeah, at a loss for words.
Yeah. So along the lines of getting caught, I think we kind of talked about this a little bit in the last episode, but getting caught cheating is like, I've been cheated on as well. And I think it hurts for me in my experience. It sucked more getting caught than it did to be cheated on.
Ooh. I wish I could talk to that. I really wish I could speak to that because I've never cheated, which means in turn I've never been caught cheating. I have. So like there was one time in high school, I was like seeing a girl. We were like dating, right? We're not in a relationship, but we were like dating.
You're fucking, basically.
Yeah. And but like no, we were. It was it was senior year because we totally like. We were going to two different colleges. It was like one of those things where like, if we had met a couple years ago, maybe different, or if we had kicked this off a couple years ago, maybe be different. But like, we're cool with this. We're cool. You're cool with that. Like whatever. But it's definitely like us. I remember I like went to a party, got fucking wasted, and made out with like a different chick, and she like found out. So like that's about as like my extent of cheating, even though we were not exclusive at all.
But what was that like for you when she found out?
It's really hard for me to remember like my feelings because if I'm not mistaken, I was 17. Yeah. I do remember it was on or near my birthday, if I'm not mistaken, or something, because she had gotten me a gift.
Oh,
and it was funny
ouch.
because I remember I was actually just talking to someone else about this the other day, as far as like getting a gift for someone and then like them like ending things or whatever it is.
We've all been there.
Yeah, and I was like, they were like, "What did you do?" And I was like, the only situation that I can speak to is this one. So she was like, "What did you do?" And I was like, "Well, I told her that she could keep the gift."
What was it?
It was a basketball jersey. So she was like, "You can just like a real basketball jersey though, not like a fucking printed one. It was like a stitch one." And so I was like,
sorry I made out with this girl. You can have the jersey.
Well, here's the thing is where she actually had found out, and we met up to talk, and then she gave me the jersey then. And then you were like, no, you can have it. I was like, you can keep that. But she said something to me, like I said, back to who I was talking to like a couple days ago about this. She said something to me then that resonated with me for up until now, for my entire life. She goes, "You deserved it when I got it for you." And I was like,
wow.
Okay. And you know what's funny is I've gotten gifts for girls or whatever, or just like, I hate saying gifts because that makes it sound like, I don't know, like going over the top. But I've like gotten things for girls, like, whatever, and like given them to them, and then like things didn't work out. And it's like, man, I really wish I could like get that back. But then at the same time, that phrase comes back to me. I'm like, well, at that time, she deserved it. So like,
but that's
it's
also
hers.
like that probably made you feel like shit. You're like, damn, I fucking blew it. I'm an asshole.
I mean, we continued to hook up again afterwards, but
Yeah, well.
It was high school, so like it is what it is. But like, I definitely, that's the only thing that I can speak to as far as like being the cheater.
Being the cheater and getting caught, and even just doing it, like the guilt is just.
It's hard to remember that feeling though. I don't.
So bad. It is. There is nothing like cheating on someone because obviously if you're in a relationship, more than likely you love the person that you're with, right? no matter why you're cheating, not that any cheating on any level is okay. It's not. I'm not here to advocate that at all. I take full responsibility for how fucked up it was, and I'm sure that karma will come for me one day. I am fully expecting it because I deserve it. But being the cheater is so heavy. It is. I can't from getting caught to having to lie. It's like the deception. It's like
so exhausting. Like
it is exhausting. But it also just like really takes a toll on your emotional and mental state.
Here's some more self-deprecation too on my end, which I love. I can barely get a text back, let alone have someone to cheat on. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't think I've ever even really been. I'm trying to think of like if I've ever been in a situation where I'm like, oh fuck, like it's this easy to cheat on someone right now. Like this is the moment I can do it, and I can do it. I don't. I'm really trying to think. I don't think I've ever been in a position where I've been in a relationship and I've been and like some girl has like been throwing herself at me so much where I'm like, I could do this right now. I don't.
Well, I think it's different for girls and guys. Not all the time, but I think obviously, and I don't know
because the guys are usually pursuing.
Yeah.
Again, I can't speak to it because I've never cheated, but I feel like the guys are the ones who the guys who do cheat are the ones who are like, let's go fuck some bitches. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like so, I mean, it's just I think I mentioned this before, was like when you do get caught, because I mean, eventually, unless you're like super fucking good at it, you more than likely will get caught at some point, because the more you do it, the easier it is to do it every single time, and the more careless you get about covering your tracks.
Yeah, it's like a serial killer who, you know, eventually they all get caught. Otherwise, they wouldn't be serial killers because we wouldn't know who the fuck they are.
Right.
But
so you get more careless about getting caught.
Everyone that I know, even guys, everyone that I know that has cheated has gotten caught at least once.
Well, because too, like in today's day and age, like it's not easy to cover your tracks. Like you always have your phone. Like you have your phone on you. Like if you have this going on, the person that you're cheating with either has to be super fucking cool with the fact that they are just your side person and never get jealous and not be like uptight when you're like, hey, I'm going to dinner with
my girlfriend,
my boyfriend. Don't hit me up for the next 2 hours. Or like, hey, like I'd rather not have sex today because I had sex with him today. Like,
yeah,
like there's a lot of layers to it.
I feel like it's a double-edged sword though, because I feel like although yes, you have a lot more tracks to cover up, but there's also way more opportunity to be shady. There's more platforms to be shady and find a way to cheat if you're someone who is interested in cheating on your significant other. Right. You know what I mean? I mean, how I used to say it all the time, where it's just like a girl can just post a hot selfie on her Instagram story and she's gonna get 5 DMs. Yeah. I mean, like it's that simple.
Not me. I don't get DMs. Bullshit. But whatever. I guess I don't really post thirst traps.
Yeah. I mean, and I don't like you're active on social media, but you're not like if you wanted to. I think if you wanted to, you could. You could run with that train if you wanted to, but I don't. Yeah, you're not that type of person. No. Yeah, which is good. No, that's a good thing.
Well, I mean, it's not bad if you are, though. I mean, shout out to the girls who do post thirst traps. If I had a sick body like that, I would have all the thirst traps up there.
Actually, it's funny. There was a would you rather question that I was thinking about asking, and it was just like, could you go back to? This is also a reference to last week's episode, but it was like, would you rather go back to being 13 years old, but a female or the opposite sex or whatever, knowing what you know now, or go into the future being the same person you are? And I was like, fuck that, I'll go back as a female. Like I had a coworker ask me, I was like, I'll go back as a female. They're like, wow. I'm like, bro, go back to when I was 13 knowing that Instagram is going to be a platform, and assuming I'm a good looking chick. Dude, are you fucking kidding me?
Capitalize on that shit.
I would capitalize on that. The moment it comes out, I would start capitalizing on it. I'd be the richest fucking Insta-thought on the planet.
The first influencer of all time.
Oh, absolutely. I'm like, you're fucking crazy. Anytime almost any question that you can say, not to go off on a total tangent here, but any question that you can say going back in time, knowing what you know now, I think that's the answer. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because you know everything. Yes, there is such thing as a butterfly effect and blah, blah, blah. Speaking of butterfly effects, you cheat once, what kind of effect does that have going forward, though?
So I think it's, for me personally, once you break, there's two parts to this question. So once you break that barrier and you've done it, like it's happened. You've been unfaithful in your head, like you fucked up, and that it's kind of like you've already broken through that. So when it happens again, it's like it doesn't feel as hard. It doesn't feel as fucked up as that first time. And for me, it's like the floodgates are open. Like once you do it once, like you're fucked. Like that's
an addiction.
It's not even addiction, but it's like you don't, like you already go through that first initial like, holy shit, I fucked up. I can't believe I did this again. Like shit, like.
And but the next time you do it, it's a little easier.
Because you've already beaten the shit out of yourself for it once. You're like, well, fuck it, like. Yeah. Here we are again. Like, whatever.
It's a lot easier getting your ass kicked when your ass has already been kicked.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep. You're still bruised from the first round, so it's like, does it even really hurt as bad? Not really. But I think repairing a relationship. Well, I think if you're cheating, you're fucked. I think either way, like the relationship's fucked. If you're cheating, more likely than not, the relationship's over and you need to end it. Period. But if you get caught cheating and you want to work through it, I think unless you really work on it, and I mean like dedicated on both parties.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say it ain't just you. It's both ends.
Because you have to, once that trust is broken, like that's a thing
because
that's gonna come up
say that
forever.
Say that we were in a relationship, whatever. You cheated on me. The reason why it needs to be both ends of the relationship is you need to work on one being faithful and whatnot and rebuilding that trust, loyalty, love, and all that stuff. But me, I also need to be careful that I don't use that as a rain cloud and hold it over your head whenever I just want to get my way with something else.
But also, you have to repair that your trust was broken too, as a person that was cheated on. Like you have to repair that piece of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like
you put your faith in someone and they broke that trust.
I want you to come to this family function. You're like, oh, I don't really want to go. Yeah, remember that time you cheated on me?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. You can't do that because that's not your fault as far as you, Caitlin. That's my fault. That's me taking something and holding it over your head because I haven't accepted the fact that we're working on this yet. I haven't accepted the fact that you did this, and I'm not okay with it, but I'm getting over it myself.
Like work through it.
Yeah. Like I have to get closure on it myself, and using it as like a chess piece,
right,
is not getting your closure. It's not getting closure on it at all.
And even if you never even bring it up, I can say I'm really close with a couple who has gone through this, and they worked through it. But I know from being friends with the person that was cheated on, this person often will say to me, like, I still think about this all the time, and I don't think this person will ever vocalize it to their partner because they just don't want to bring it up because they have said, like, we worked through this, it's in the past, we're not going to bring it up anymore. But it's always there for this person. I know from having interactions with this person that they still dwell on it all the time, and
that's not good.
But I personally can say if I got cheated on, I don't know how I could ever get over it. Like, I don't think that I could move past that because it's a violation of trust. It's like and it's fucked up because I've done it and I know, like, I am sitting here saying if you're getting cheated on, it's not you. It's not that you're not hot enough. It's not that you're not fun enough. It's not that you're not cool enough. It has nothing to do with any inadequacies of you as a person. It's about either the relationship or the person that's doing the cheating. So those feelings of inadequacy are not correct. But when I was cheated on, I felt like, well, maybe if I was prettier, maybe if I was cooler, maybe if I, like...
It's easier said than done taking your own advice,
right.
You know what I mean? And you're right. And it's funny you brought up, like, if you were cheated on, like, you don't know if you could get over it and whatnot. And I remember I was, like, a huge advocate. Like, I mean, as dumb as a kid as you know, a young boy would be when it comes to relationships and stuff, I just remember being like Tommy Tough Nuts, like, oh, if a girl fucking cheats on me, I don't give a shit. Fuck that. Like, no way I'd give her another chance. Like, this kind of thing. I'll never forget the first time I got cheated on. I was like, let's make this work. Let's figure this out. Because it was like something stupid. It was like a drunk makeout, and it lasted like 5 seconds. And I was like, all right, am I really going to get like mad at that? Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, and I wasn't the one obviously drunk making out. I was cheated on. So, yeah, she like drunk made out with some kid or something like that. And I was just like, oh my God. And then we wound up working on it, and we dated for a little while. And she's still like really cool girl, and like, you know, super chill with her now and whatnot. But like, you know, it didn't work out for like other reasons and everything. But, you know, I do remember just being like, wow, like here I am. Like I used to be like, fuck that bitch. Like just move on. And then the first time, like one of the first times it happened, like, or I've been cheated on before, but that was like the first like serious relationship I was in where I got cheated on. And I was just like, damn, like here I am, like trying to work on it. Like
well,
that's
when you're cheated on, you're kind of blindsided. Like you're not, maybe there are problems in the relationship. That could be a situation, but what if it's just a relationship that's not great, but not bad
Mhm.
and you get cheated on, you're like kind of blindsided. You're like, well,
Yeah,
I
what the
didn't want to cheat. I don't want to break up. Like, I didn't think this was over yet. And then you did that. So now I'm supposed to, not only did you violate my trust and you broke my heart, but now I have to break up with you too. Like, I'm losing you and you just fucked me so hard. Like, that's a
Well,
lot.
no, they fucked
That's a
someone
lot.
else, someone
Right,
hard.
right. But that's a lot. It's a lot. So,
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, it's really hard. Like which I love having this conversation. Don't get me wrong, but it's really hard for me to have this conversation because I've never done it. So I can only speak from like a receiving end and from a male end as well too. So like,
I just wanted to, I think that I want to defend the cheaters, and this is fucked up because like you don't deserve defense. You're an asshole. I was an asshole. I was
like,
the asshole. But I think hearing the perspective last time is like you're a douche and you don't care about people and you're a bad person. That's not. I will say, I was not my best self then by any means at all, but I was in a bad spot and I was not well within myself. It was never, ever, ever to hurt the person that I was with, ever. It was never because I didn't care about them or because I, it was shit that was going on in my own head that I wasn't strong enough to handle like an adult. So I handled it like a little bitch baby, basically.
Yeah. And I think that's actually good that you brought that up. And maybe we didn't do such a good job, or I'll even take ownership. Maybe I didn't do such a good job at like honing in at the idea of like, I don't think like, yeah, I think you're a bad person and you're a piece of shit if you do cheat, but I don't think like, again, I think understand.
You're a person that made a bad choice. You're not a bad person.
Yeah, and also too, there's people out there who cheat who are just bad people.
Yeah.
So there's both. You know what I mean? There's definitely both. But I guess what we didn't really, emphasize is the fact that like I totally understand that there are certain situations where people do cheat, like in general. Just I again don't agree with it. It's
No.
not the move to make.
No, it's
It's
awful.
not how you handle the situation. But I can't like if like to me I think of like if a female's like in an abusive relationship, that's like the first thing my mind goes to. She's in a like a whether it's physical or mental, emotional, like abusive relationship or whatever, and she's like looking for romance somewhere else, and it's like this relationship is so toxic that she feels stuck, and like that's horrible. You know what I mean? Like I will never know what that feels like, from a female perspective because I'm a guy, but I can see, again, I don't agree with it, but I can totally see why that person would essentially like seek asylum in somebody else. You know what I mean? But again, it's a shit move. I don't think you're a shit person, but that you were at that time. You know what I mean?
Right,
like
yeah.
at that moment you were a piece of shit.
And I
Like,
think that kind of leads into like my next perspective on the cheating, right? So it's like my experience in that first relationship, whatever. And then just if moving forward in other relationships that I've had, and also speaking to a good friend of mine who also is a serial cheater. I got her perspective as well. And basically the second scenario is more of like, you're in a relationship and the relationship's lacking something. You're very much aware of that. And whatever that piece is, you can get from someone else. So maybe it's the sex, maybe it's the compliments, maybe it's the friendship, like whatever that piece is that you're missing.
quality time,
you know
whatever.
what it is, and you know where else to get it. And that's like the piece that is fucked up that people do as well. Like,
Yeah, that's worse.
It's definitely worse because you're being selfish and that you don't want to give up what you have right now because it's comfortable, right? It's what you know. There are so many parts of it that you love, but like, you're not getting the full relationship. So you're like, well, I can get it over here. Like, and if I get it over here, I'm fulfilled and I don't have to leave this other thing. I can get both at the same time. Not saying it's great. It's really fucking toxic, but that could also be another reason why people do it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I totally agree. I mean,
It's selfish as fuck. It is so fucked up. It's first and foremost, you're hurting someone else, obviously, but it's fucked up to yourself. Like you think that you're able to divide yourself in a way that
you think you're that good.
Well, I think it's like you're not willing to do the hard thing and leave the person to get the whole full circle thing.
Yeah.
You want to divide. It's just it's very unhealthy and very fucked up.
I saw a video. It was like this guy. It was like if you could talk to yourself. It was interviewing like an older gentleman. He was like in his like 60s or something like that, and he was like a construction worker, whatnot. He's like if you could tell yourself if you could give one piece of advice to yourself when you were 20, what would it be? And he said, it was like something on fucking Facebook or whatever. And he said something along the lines of like, happiness is always on the other side of taking the harder path.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah. And he's like, so take the harder path, you know? And I think that the problem with what you were speaking to before is the easy path is to just cheat and just go find it somewhere else.
Yeah.
The harder path is breaking up with the person because it's not your person,
right.
and finding your person. Mm-hmm. But that's not an easy path, you know what I mean?
No.
And you know, that's a hard path.
Cheating is a fucking cop out in that situation, 100%.
Yeah. So I guess there's like different like types of cheating. We should name them. You know what I mean? Like,
I think there's so many different kinds of cheating, and I think I'm speaking to like two small parts of it. But like, I mean, a friend of mine and I were talking about this beforehand. Like in today's world, I feel like it's so much easier to cheat and have more temptations to cheat, because I think social media is a big part of it, because you're looking at all these like model relationships like we talked about in the past. Mm-hmm. And you're seeing people who look happy, and like maybe they go on a lot of trips together. They look like they post really nice, wonderful pictures. Like,
what did my girl say, Liv? She said comparison is the thief of happiness.
Of joy. Comparison is the thief of joy. Yeah. So you see these relationships, you're like, well, my relationship should look like this, but it doesn't. So maybe if I, maybe it's more of a temptation to like compare, and then like, okay, well, I can get it from this instead. Like maybe if I do this, it's right there. Social media, like it's.
Yeah, it'll eat you alive. I really want to have a social media episode. I really do, but I want it to be with the perfect guest.
Yeah.
Who just fits, kind of like, who checks all the boxes of like what I think we need in order to have that discussion. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that discussion. It's definitely going to be something that we have in the future.
I think it definitely perpetuates the availability to cheat, maybe, if that makes sense, like, and the temptation, because like if you see a fucking Insta thought and you're like, man, like my girlfriend isn't having sex with me right now, like ever, and then here's this sexy ass girl, and then you go out in public and you're like, you're already turned on, you're already in the mood, and it's right there in front of you all the time, and then you get a chance and you just jump on it.
That illusion gets painted, you know what I mean? And you just walk out and you're just like, oh my gosh, like, here, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, and I spoke to it before, earlier this episode and the episode before when we discussed cheating, was, there's just so many platforms now. Like, I mean, you can find ways to cheat on Twitter. You can
on
find
LinkedIn. You can cheat on LinkedIn if you want.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jesus Christ, that's supposed to be a professional platform.
I found out, actually, I heard this like a couple years ago. A girl caught her boyfriend cheating on her through Apple Music, because the couple, like her boyfriend, was sharing playlists with another girl on Apple Music, and she was able to find out that they had like listening to the same songs and like created like this, like, I guess like
lovers playlist.
Yeah, like this like affair playlist, I guess, whatever the fuck.
Right.
I'm like, this is our world. You can cheat on Apple fucking Music.
There was another one too where like they call it like on Venmo. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they find like Venmo, like fucking Uber. You know what I mean? Like that's like, are you fucking kidding me? And there's just so many. Although there's so many platforms, like you said earlier, like that you have to cover your bases in. Mm-hmm. But there's also so many platforms that you can figure a way around it. You know what I mean? Like, who would have thought that, like, I'm going to go check my boyfriend's fucking Venmo account to see if he's been sending money for cab ride or Uber rides for some bitch coming over.
I never thought about that before. Wow.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, he could be covering all of his bases on every other fucking platform, but he fucked up on Venmo of all things, Or what if he, like, fucked up on Pinterest, Like, something so minuscule, It could go that way, though. It really could. It's sad. And then, I mean, I think Instagram and Facebook are hands down like the worst. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Instagram. Like, I think it's a great platform for like many different things. But like, it's also fucking, if you look at Instagram and enjoy Instagram for what it is at its core, then that's fine. But if you can't look at Instagram and I would even say almost any other social media platform, and look at it and realize that the level of toxicity that you can get from it, speaking from a relationship standpoint and cheating and whatnot, that there is so much fucked with it. You know what I mean? Because now, like let me ask you this. Do you think it's cheating if a dude likes other girls' pictures if you're in a relationship?
I think that if it is a model, that's fine. I think you can like all the Insta-thought models you want. If we're in a relationship and, I don't know, Kara posts a picture at the beach with her tits out and her nipples are hard and her butt cheeks are hanging out and she has sweat dripping down her body, and you like that picture, and we both know Kara and we see her often, you are not fucking liking her picture.
Yeah, see.
Nah, I'm not cool with that. No.
Yeah.
Because that's real. We know her. We see her. We interact with her. And even if we don't, like, she's a real person, and
But the instant thoughts aren't.
you're giving her, because, okay, from my perspective, if I post a picture, a selfie of me doing anything, just me being like, here's a picture of myself that I have deemed attractive enough to share with the world because I want you to tell me that I'm pretty. That's what posting a selfie is, right?
Yeah.
And if a guy that has a girlfriend likes my picture, I feel weird. I'm like, that's it just feels weird to me. Like I'm like that. Like
But there's times where like it's not about that. Like, you know what I mean?
And
like
that's
sometimes
what
I'll like.
every guy says.
Yeah, of course, every guy.
Bullshit.
Yeah, but like I don't think it is though. Like, because there's times where like I'll like a picture because I like what their caption says. Like if you took a selfie and you're like, I'm just feeling myself today. I'm so happy. It's a great day and blah blah. I'm like, fuck yeah, girl. Like, let's go. Like, happiness. I love that. Like, I love that energy. And then, I mean, yeah. And then there's other times where a girl's got her fucking tits thumped out. I'm like, I like boobs. Double click. You know what I mean? Like, let's go.
Well, I think if I, and I have expressed this in the past, like, it doesn't make me feel good when I see, you know, Julie post a picture of her tits and you like the picture. When I see that you've liked that picture, it makes me feel not great. Is that about you or is that about me? That's about me. That's about my insecurities, right? Yeah. But if I vocalize this to you as your girlfriend and you still continue to do it, that just means that you don't have any regard for how that makes me feel.
No, and I totally agree. Like, because I've been in this position before where, like, I've been with someone. They're like, I don't like when you like these pictures and, like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and there was a time where I was like, okay, like, yeah, whatever. And I argued it and I was just like, whatever, and continued to do it. And then had another conversation and blah, blah, blah. And here we are, you know, having this conversation again or argument again. And I'm like, okay. And then there was a point in time where I was like, you know what? Fuck it. Like, I'll just dial it back. Like who gives a fuck? Like, who does she need? She's got 431 likes on this picture. Does she need 432? No. You know what I mean? So like, I have dialed it back. But then again, though, there's a reason. There's not always a sexual or ulterior motive for a guy liking a girl. There are times where literally, like, I have like girlfriends who like will post something and be like, I had a rough week. It sucks, but I put this outfit on and I feel sexy. Yeah. And here I am. Let's go. It's now Friday night. Like, I'm having a good week. I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Energy. This is sick. Like, I'm loving this. Like, I like that. You know what I mean? Or like, if it's like, hey, like, here's a picture of me and like my family. Cool. Like, here's your family. Like, I like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just like, man, even though it's like a totally normal selfie of you, I still find you attractive and want to fuck you, I'm still going to like it. Like, it's not always like that. Yeah, just from like a guy's perspective.
And I've been told that from guys many times.
But no girl will ever believe it. Ever.
Well, I think it goes back to like girls and guys, our brains are wired differently. We work much differently. Like,
it's just like the guys who slide in your DMs or like comment on the picture and you're like, oh my gosh, like Justin is so nice, and you're like, well, Justin wants to fuck you. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're
and
like,
I will say I just now learned at 29 years old. My brother said something to me over the summer that I thought was so interesting. I'm a bartender, for those who didn't know. It's my side gig. And as a bartender, you get hit on all the time. It happens.
That's where I practice all of my lines because they get hit on. And if they laugh, that means it's a good one, because that means they've either never heard it before or they found it impressive. If they just give you a cold shoulder and say, so do you want another beer? I'm like, okay, we're not going to use that in real life. Yeah. They're great people to practice on.
So I, you know, you tend to get some of your repeat offenders that just won't get the fucking hint that you are not interested. And my line at work all the time is, I don't give out my number at work. If I'm not interested in someone, that's what I say. I don't give out my number at work. Sorry. And I'm like, how do they not get that? Like, if I ask someone for their phone number and they're like, oh, I don't give out my number, I'd be like, I'm going to go jump off a bridge, because that was rejection. Yeah. Hard and cold right there. But because I was pissed off about this, because I had this one guy that kept coming in. He was like stalking me on Facebook, like calling the bar to see when I'd be working again. And I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I feel like I made it pretty clear to this man that I'm not interested. And my brother's like, well, did you straight up say, I am not interested? I'm like, well, no. And he's like, unless you vocalize precisely that, some men, unless you say, I am not interested in dating you today, tomorrow, or ever at all, period.
They still think there's a chance.
I'm like, that.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Exactly. I'm like, no. Hard no, buddy.
Yeah. But it's true. So like, and like I said, just to
I
like
don't even know how we got here.
how did we get here? I mean, it's fine because it runs along the same lines of just like, the guy who's in your DMs or whatever commenting, like he's trying to fuck you, and that incentive is more prevalent now than ever because
Right.
of how many platforms there are. Like I said, I mean, actually, you know what? I lied. I don't think Instagram and Facebook are the worst. The worst, Snapchat.
Agreed.
Snapchat.
I actually haven't had Snapchat in 4 years, and here's why. I had it, and no, 3 years, but regardless, I deleted it when I got back together with my ex because I was like, what do I need Snapchat for? I used to use Snapchat to flirt because it's the best place to flirt. You can send a cute little selfie, you can send a little quick like message, and you don't have to have a full conversation.
Filters, conversations delete after 24 hours
Right.
if you set it up, or delete right away. The hands down the worst platform.
The shadiest platform.
Or sorry, the shadiest platform without a doubt. I'm glad I remembered that because
And I don't have Snapchat, so your girl, this is just proving your girl can be loyal.
Yes.
Cheaters can change. Is my
cheater once a cheater, always a cheater, or no?
I don't think so. I think once a cheater, once a shit person, maybe like you did a shit thing. Like I don't think you're
Once a cheater, once made a bad mistake.
If you're
Maybe
me,
twice.
many times a cheater, once a good person. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to wrap the social media piece into it too, because I think I forgot where I was going with it earlier. But social media has taught us that like you said, a double tap is like that instant gratification, right? Like you put something out there and then you get instantly gratified, and we get kind of addicted to that feeling of like, if I'm not in a good place, if I do this, it'll make me feel better right now. And I think that's so much a part of our culture today that I think that's where that cheating piece can kind of come into play.
Yeah, because couples are less likely now to try and work through if you are feeling down about yourself or down about the relationship. What's again
the hard thing.
What's the hard thing to do is having a conversation about it. What's the easy thing to do? Post a hot selfie and get fucking 420 likes on it and feel better about yourself.
Well, for me, I'm thinking like it's that behavior that kind of gets ingrained in our memory that we don't need to do the hard thing. We have that instant gratification, which
it's right there. Yeah, it's right there.
Which is making out the dude at the bar. The hard thing is working on your relationship. The easy thing, the instant gratification to feel better right now is go to the bar and make out with the dude.
Yeah.
It's I feel like
I mean, I wouldn't make out with a dude, but
don't knock it till you try. It's not bad.
I love it, right? But yeah, no, you're right. And same thing. Even if you don't even want to go to the extent of actually committing cheating, you know what I mean? You want that instant gratification. It's 4 clicks away. You know what I mean? You post a fucking a fire selfie, and it doesn't even, again, like I said, it doesn't even have to be a fucking super sexy selfie with your fucking tits and ass out. It could just be a good looking picture of you. You're gonna get that instant gratification right away. And then what's the incentive of you to go work on your relationship or work on yourself? Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I could just post this picture. I'm good. Here we go.
Temporary
Here we are.
high, yep.
Yeah, and you're right. And it is a temporary high. It's kind of like what we talked about like in the therapy episode when I went and I spoke to that first therapist. I felt good. I felt great about myself for 2 weeks, and then it went away like really fast. And the same thing is going to happen, which is all it's going to do is drive you deeper and deeper into a hole and drive you deeper and deeper into you more likely going to cheat.
Well, honestly, I think cheating is like that. Cheating is an instant gratification, and it feels good the first time you do it. And maybe you only do it once, but it feels good in that moment. But after that, it feels like fucking shit. And then if you do it over and over again, you're always chasing
like a
that.
come down from a drug.
Yeah, you're always chasing that like good feeling, and it does come. You do get it, like no pun intended. You do get it, but it drives you further and further and further down into that dark place until everything just shatters and falls apart.
I think we're almost out of time here, but I think the one question I want to ask you, since you are coming from a different perspective here, and I think it's a question that I've always wanted to ask and whatnot, or that I've dealt with before, is what is worse, a physical cheat or an emotional cheat? I think I already know what my answer is, and I think I expressed it in the previous episode about this, but I'm curious to what yours is, since you're coming, like I said, coming from a different point of view.
I think they kind of go hand in hand sometimes. I think if you're talking about like, I am out at the bar and I meet a hot guy and I go home with him that night, that kind of physical cheat versus like I'm speaking to someone every day while I'm in a relationship. I mean, they both suck, but I can say...
Yeah, that's a standard.
They both suck, but I can say the person that's, because again, I've done both. The person who's having the emotional relationship, they are either way more fucked up or your relationship's way more fucked up. If you're just going out and banging someone, like, yeah, you probably are not in a great place in your relationship.
But you're way deeper.
If you're having a full-on relationship with somebody else, I would be willing to bet both things are fucked up. You as a person, you are fucked up, and there's something you need to fix within yourself. But your relationship is over. It's over. Yeah. The end. It's done.
It's I don't mean as far as like you're having a full-blown relationship with someone else. I mean as far as like the emotional cheating, where it's like, yes, you are talking to that person every day, or like this, that, and the other thing, or you're flirting with that person every day and whatnot. Nothing ever physical happens, but your quality time, your affirmation, all that is given to somebody else, compared to I went to the bar with the fucking girls tonight, met some dude and fucking went home with them and jerked them off. Like, I would rather a girl do that to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than an emotional cheat. Yeah. Because to me, an emotional cheat, it's like you have totally disconnected from me. Yeah. Like, you were fucking control alt deleted, gone. And
but again, I think it also speaks to a lot of
who that person is.
Not even who they are, but where they are at that point in their life. They are more than likely at a very low place where they are just searching for something to make them feel better. Mm-hmm. And even if you're, as the boyfriend, giving them all the same things that this other person's giving them, if you guys are both, you could be saying the exact same sentences to this person, and if they're in a bad place, it's still not enough.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's coming from you or him.
It's about their self-worth and what they think is going to make them feel better at that time. Or maybe your relationship sucks and you're an asshole and this guy's nice to her. Either way, though, the relationship's over at that point.
Yeah. So you would rather a physical cheat then?
Absolutely.
Because like I said, to me, a physical cheat is more than likely like I got fucked up and hooked up with someone, like whatever.
But still,
I mean, not saying that they're all like that, but like I would say 7 out of 10 times, like someone cheats, it's usually like, yeah, I was out with the boys and like there was some chick grinding up on me. I made out with her. You know what I mean? I think
it's one of those things again. Like if you're cheating at all, if you are cheating at all, there is never a time where you cheat and everything is going good. Your relationship is great. It's just not feasible. It's not real. It might be really buried deeply under there that there's something missing. Yeah. And like I said, it doesn't have to be bad. You don't have to be in a toxic relationship. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, you could be in a really, really good relationship.
There's just something that's not right for you.
Yeah.
And not that that's going to cause you to cheat, but if and when you do cheat on that like random bar makeout situation, like. Yeah. It's not because your relationship was great and you got drunk. It's because there was something missing, and in the back of your mind, subconsciously, you knew that, which is what allowed you to take that step and do that.
And it just took a bunch of tequila to find it.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Fucking tequila. God damn it.
It's too soon. I had so much last night. I can't.
Tequila. It's like the hangover. Yeah, we had those shots of Jaeger.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That's not good.
Yeah. But I think to wrap it up, I want to say, like, if you have gotten cheated on and you're internalizing it, please know that from the cheater, it's not about you. It's not about anything that you did. More than likely, you could be a shitty fucking person and have deserved it, which, again,
there are people out there.
I've been there too.
Yeah, there are people out there who are like that too. Not saying that I think that they deserve to be cheated on, but it's like, well, you kind of had it coming.
And if you're sitting there around like, what did I do? Like, what can I do differently? Like, just know that it's probably not you. It's probably the relationship as a whole. And your partner took the easy way out, and they did something to lessen the load on themselves. Wasn't to hurt you more than likely. It probably wasn't anything that you were lacking. It was just your partner, for lack of a better term, was a little bitch, and they took the easy route, and they did not consider what that would look like afterwards, I think.
Moral of the story: happiness is at the end of the hard path.
Yes, amen.
Amen.
And I don't mean the hard path like the hard dick that you're gonna the hard side dick that you're gonna get.
Hard cock. No,
the difficult path.
The challenging path.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's reword this a little bit here, because sometimes some people will be like, oh, well, I know what that means. You know what I mean? Just gonna go grab this dude's hard dog.
The irregular said.
Yeah, right. Well, Bobby and Katie said it was fine. Like, no, we didn't. But all right, guys. So on that note, Caitlin, thanks for kind of divulging your super toxic and terrible past like that.
Yeah, I'm not proud of it. I can't.
She's sweating a little bit. Just so you guys, it's funny to watch her squirm a little bit, because it's like It's like, yeah, she's like, oh God, I'm kind of uncomfortable. And then I'm just over here perfectly lily white because I've never done anything wrong. I'm perfect. I can't even say that without.
So on that note, guys, we're gonna wrap it up for this week. You know where to find us on social media. Even though we just like shit on social media, follow us on Instagram.
Yeah, right.
At a regular podcast. Also find me on my personal at Katie_ANI KAITY_ANI.
And mine is at YoBob, EYOOO_BOB. Make sure you follow the Facebook group or join the Facebook group. We got a lot of cool things going on in there, just little things and whatnot. And it's where we get to interact with you guys as well, too, if you have any questions or anything like that. On that note, we will talk to you next Thursday. Love y'all.
Love you guys.